Welcome to WKIM. We keep it moving with Marsha Jews. How is everybody doing? I'll tell you, this has been a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we are grateful to be here today. We have a large group of people for the first and second hour. We're talking about mentoring and what that really means and what mentors are supposed to do, why it's important, what are the mentees required to do, and why is it important for them. So we have a whole panel of professional men and women, and we're going to start with the men because they were in line first, and so we're very excited to have them here. And our first guest would be Rod Carter, and Rod is a recruitment specialist for Career Communications Group. He is a mentor through the Black Professional Men, and he is an incredible man who has been made it his business to spend his life's journey in the development and the empowerment of young students in our colleges. So help me welcome Mr. Rod Carter.
Thank you, Marsha. Thank you so much for that introduction. There's something I want to be played immediately. I think Marsha and I talked about it before. Is it possible that could be played right now?
And I don't know that I gave her the right link for that to occur. So while we're talking,
Okay,
let me send it to her and then we'll go on from there. Okay,
fantastic.
so let's talk about how you were able to get into this environment. One, that you would be in the business of recruiting and how important recruiting is to you. And that's a whole nother, that's a conversation that we're going to have. That's very important, but also that you got involved with the Black professional men in the city of Baltimore and all of their mentoring and programming. And to be quite candid, ladies and gentlemen, this show was developed by Rod Carter. And so we are very excited that you're here. And let's talk about your not
Miss-
only your vision, your mission in the development of young people.
Okay, so we have some time to really develop this. I was involved with Project Raise with Bethel AME Church.
Hmm.
A situation occurred that I lost my roommate and I wanted to make a difference. And I got involved with some very interesting, outstanding young people at that time, Marsha. Of course, you interacted with them down the line. And from there, I met these young folks they actually lived in Murphy Homes. And I was with them for 7 years. And by 1996, I actually was starting doing some mentoring with the Best Corporation. And then all of a sudden, I was in the right place at the right time, I guess. It was at a special jazz event downtown. And I was invited to participate and actually go to a Black Professional Men meeting in which I just wanted to check it out. And from there, that's how I got involved with Black Professional Men. I was wheeled in by Scott Phillips. You know, you can't tell Scott no. But that's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. So next thing you know, I was involved with youth development. And then I started to make some changes regarding the scholarship piece. Brad Red, waiting for him to come on board. He was a very, very strong advocate of making some adjustments to what we end up accomplishing over the next 15 years. So that's how I got involved with Black Professional Men Scholarship and also work with youth development.
But that wasn't an easy task. You know, you're saying it and it sounds light and airy, but it's really not light and airy. One, how did you go about identifying the young people to even recruit them? And what were the requirements for these young people to be part of this program?
Okay, were we talking about the BPM program or the Project Race program or both?
We're talking about both.
Okay, fantastic. Actually, when I arrived to the school, it was like a pilot program with the Maryland Mentoring Association, and we actually picked out. I think it was at that time was 60 students that were fifth graders. I decided if 60 was too much, so I broke it down to 60. Broke it down to 30. Okay, and from there we were able to get the mentors from Bethel AME Church. And the beauty of it all is that Marsha, this is a miracle in itself. Of those 30 individuals at that time, we did not lose one kid to death, not
Wow,
one kid to death.
that's
And
huge.
and you saying that right now, people say,
And
"What?"
that's sad that we would even say that we even have to say that we didn't lose anybody to death.
Right. But it's sad considering the other programs that we're involved with. They were losing two and three within 2 or 3 years, but we did not lose not one child to death.
Mm.
And that was a miracle in itself because one, those mentors were very, very hands-on. Dolores Winston taught me how to be involved with the community. I was in those homes. I felt safe in Murphy Homes sometimes and up on Park Ice and Cold Spring Lane because everyone knew me and they considered themselves as Carter kids. Like you had baby kids, you had Carter kids.
We
And
love
that was
it.
the story itself. So you will hear some of the stories that
Mhm.
come out from Denise and Annika and Maisha about that aspect. So of course, for Black professional men, we had pilot schools at that time. We had Lombard Middle School, and I brought in Greenspring Middle School, which Tavon was part of that. And I actually sat down with the guidance counselors, and I wanted to have a good mix of students, top students, middle students, and students that were really having some issues. So I wanted to have a family feeling that each student could bring each other up, and it worked very well.
So when you so there had to have been a recruitment process, right?
Yes.
And so in that process, what were some of the items that were critical assets that you needed to be able to bring to these young people?
Well, especially for Project Raise, we actually had a very thorough investigation of everybody. We went through the court system to be sure no hanky panky was involved with anyone. We looked at their resumes. We challenged them regarding certain things they had done and certain things they wanted to do. And
Mhm.
they actually go to a board. Every last recruit mentor had to go to a board presentation. And we knew right then and there we had the best people. We had
Mm.
the best
So
people.
you're wait a minute. You didn't say mentees. You went through and did an assessment of the mentors.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh
so
yeah.
talk about that is powerful.
Yeah. It was very.
So there was no stone unturned, it sounds like.
Oh no, there was no stone unturned. Even though some little situations occurred, and I had to stomp my feet real quick to end that madness. But again, those mentors they understood their responsibility, and those mentees they understood those mentors' responsibility also. So it was like everyone had an understanding on both ends. But the key
Mhm.
part, Marsha, was the parent piece because those parents had to buy into the program, and the key thing was when the kids bought into me that changed the whole dynamic because they saw how consistent we were trying to be.
But a lot of people don't really include, or parents they're busy, their schedules won't permit their time. They don't. What were you doing to get these people who were going through their own challenges as parents? For real, I've been a single parent,
Right.
so I know what that looks like. It ain't easy. It ain't for the faint of heart either, y'all. For real,
Right.
for
Well,
real, for real.
Dolores she gave me the game plan. She said, "Rod, you need to go and visit those homes."
Mhm.
And because I kind of got out my comfort zone, the parents felt very. They looked at me and said, "This man is for real because he's coming to my environment. He's sitting at my table. I'm feeding him, and we have some good meals."
Oh, what you had to go? Oh, wait a minute. How'd you get them to feed you? And you
And
over in the projects eating, you don't, and they took care of you.
they took
Ain't
care of
love
me.
grand. Ain't love grand.
They took care of me.
Ain't love grand.
So again, we had an understanding because one, they saw me making home visits once or twice a
Mhm.
month. They saw me
Mhm.
off of Pennsylvania Avenue. I actually lived off of Druid Hill Avenue for a time for 5 years. So they will see me in the stores. There
Mhm.
go Mr. Carter. Hey, Mr.
Mhm.
Carter, how you doing, Mr.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
became part of their environment, and they became part of my environment.
I love
And
it. I
that was the
love
key.
it.
That was the key. That was the key piece.
So you personalize those relationships.
Yes, I did.
And so sometimes in environments where there's a socioeconomic difference, people aren't always open to those experiences,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Because we get divided by segregated through the haves, the have nots, and the I want to be or I can't,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so for us to be able to cross that, to be able to meet in the middle of that bridge, you bridged that chasm. How does a organization that is a new organization that sees the issues that are going on around them, but you took delicate care with those people, those parents, those guardians, you all were very deliberate and focused was it a formula? How did you no, this is real.
Well, this is real. Yeah.
How
Well,
did
there
you
was some very unique dynamics,
make those
Marsha.
entrances?
Well,
Yes.
one of the things is majority of the mentors in the program came from the church.
Okay.
And the parents were very open in reference to those mentors actually taking the Bible class, going to church functions. I sang on the choir, so at that time we were on BET, so the students saw me every week, about 2 rows behind Reverend Reed. So I was like a celebrity. I was a celebrity. I got Mr. Carter singing, but that was kind of uniqueness of it because the fact the mentors were doing things with them in the
Mhm.
church, but it wasn't forced. But they wanted them to be there with them, and some of them, I think one or two individuals actually joined the church. Some of the parents
Mhm.
actually joined the church. So in a way, in one sense, Marsha, you think about back in the day, how that church was the major focal point in reference to
Yeah.
survival. Okay,
Yeah.
there was one situation where a young man, uncle passed away, and that mentor took control and actually adopted him.
Are you kidding?
I'm sure that I wanted to, we'll talk about that another time because he has an awesome story in itself. So again, one another issue is that those students were very close to each other. They were family. They
Mhm.
were family. And when we had situations that we pulled together and had discussions, we were all together laughing and crying together. So that was made it very unique in reference to we had a very unique family feeling among each other, so we trusted each other. Now,
Mhm.
and one of the things I gave the students, I said I gave them the opportunity to communicate with me in their unique way, but they never crossed the line, Marsha. They never crossed the line. Now, behind closed doors, I know they would call me some names because I sure they would call them some names, but they never cursed at me. They
Mhm.
never cursed at me. And we're talking
Mhm.
about some very unique scenarios, but we had an understanding. We had an understanding and respect.
But you oh, there you go. That's what I was just about to say, that you respected one another. They respected what you brought. Now, what's real interesting though is when you start having a relationship in families such as these, there is a process by which you have to go through. It's not, it's like going through your fraternity, right?
Yes, it
You
is.
you've got to go through that for to develop trust,
Right,
right? Because
right.
so many outside people have disappointed
These
far too many people who are trying to make it and trying to break through their issues, right?
well, the issue that was very important, we had some great in-house training. Richard Rowe, Ralph Moore were my supervisors. Every week we had weekly meetings every Wednesday, and we
Mhm.
sat there and discussed situations that we were dealing with. My co-workers, Will and Cynthia, we all cried on each other's shoulders together. Daryl Green, of course, was always part of the mixture. So we had
Mhm.
a great in-house training process, and that was the
Mhm.
key too. Sometimes we had retreats
Yeah.
to get away from everything. So it was a very serious program reference to the training and getting the understanding what we had to do, you know?
Mhm. Well, I think that one, mentoring is real critical. And even as old as I am, I had a couple of mentors, Margaret Armstrong,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ann Emery, and Carol Seibel.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And those three women really pushed me, pulled me, and shoved me and scooched me to where I needed to be as a grown woman.
Right.
So I can only imagine growing up when I was in Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
middle school, our community, I lived in a black enclave,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those parents were became our mentors,
Right.
right?
Right.
But just because they were there, you knew everybody on your street and
Mm-hmm.
everybody knew
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and the world has changed.
Yes.
So if we're looking at organizations that are developing or interested in growing middle and high school students and helping them to flourish, what would be three things that you would say that would help them to begin this journey?
That's of course we're talking about when I met these kids was 30 years ago. So
That's all right.
technology is taking
And some of the grown folks are here now that
okay.
that were the kids.
Technology is taking over. And if we understand how to utilize technology for as to work as something to work for you versus something working against you, that's going to be the key. I know in the last 2 years, especially with career communications, I've had to become very savvy regarding how to communicate with the students. But one of the things I share, even with Black professional men, this came out when we had our scholarship piece. I did not allow anyone to text me until I said when, because you
Mm,
had to understand they had to communicate with me face to face, by email, or by the phone. And by the time they graduate from high school, they were like this because they understood all the different variables of communication. So I think one of the big things right now we have to teach the kids the importance of communicating in all phases because it's not just about hitting a button; it's about seeing one person face to face. And of course, you've been involved with career communication. You've seen what has happened at our workshops. You've seen what has happened at our conferences. And I know I've seen you cry regarding certain students just talking about what they had to overcome. That's
yeah.
one thing. Of course, we also had to hold these students to be held accountable for their actions. Hold on 1 second.
He's still in the office, everybody. And so Rod is over at Career Communications Group, and Career Communications Group are
Yeah, I had some, I had
found.
some competition. Okay, anyway,
Okay, that's okay.
but
I'm gonna
again,
finish my sentence. Wait a minute. He is with the company Career Communications Group that has created the first Black STEM conference, Black Engineer of the Year Awards conference, and it's in its 35th, 36th year. And the Women of Color,
mhm,
uh, which was created 26 years ago.
right.
And we did our first one, 100 women, Black women, at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. And
Mm,
now it's
mm,
thousands of people, and that's happening in Detroit. But they also created STEM City,
mhm,
which is the metaverse.
mhm.
So Dr. Tyrone D. Tabor, we have to give our hands
That's
to
right.
him because he has created an environment for Rod to do what he does. And they pay for all these students to come from all over the country, in
Mhm,
some parts of the world, to attend the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference and Women of Color. And they have these incredible experiences, and people, major corporations from the Fortune 2, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, from all over the world are recruiting children who look just like us. So Rod's commitment, and he travels all
mhm.
over to recruit young people as part of that program, and he's mentoring them as well. So I feel like I need to get you a crown and call you the king of mentoring. Rod, no, this is no joke, because you have changed the lives of so many young people. And every year for over 20 years, I have watched you. And he barges into your office and tells you all about a new student he just met and how great this student is and what he's doing. He gets to know them. And that's all part of that mentoring. So you're doing a combination of recruiting,
Mm.
but you're also mentoring these young people, and you've kept them. They're all grown, a lot of them that I know now,
Yeah,
right?
right, right, Annika and Denise. Yes, matter of fact, it's very unique that in the beginning, I was taking the students to the career communications pre-college program,
Yes.
and they were exposed to STEM in the eighth and ninth grade. As a matter of fact, I know Annika and Maisha might start laughing about this. They actually went to a college party, and it kind of opened up their eyes because they always thought college students were nerds. They said, "Mr. Carter, what's that ABC exam again? I got to get in college." But they had a good time on that boat. Trust me, they
Yes.
had a very, and back in the day we had the boat in the harbor. But the key thing was exposure.
Mhm.
And Marsha, you know this, Alvin Ailey,
Yes.
sports camps,
Yes.
and it's just exposure because
Ailey Camp. That's right.
raise means raise ambition and builds self-esteem.
Mhm.
And Denise was always involved with arena players. And I think one of the funniest stories is that many years ago, there was a special event down at the Kennedy Center. And the kids, of course, they live right there near the train stations. We walked over to the train station, but I always said, be on time, 15 minutes, I'm gone. So Anthony Green was part of the group, and he did not get on the train with us. And I was livid mad. And what happened, during intermission, someone said, Mr. Carter, there goes Anthony. I went, huh? So Anthony said, Mr. Carter, I missed the train. I told him what happened. I pulled my money out. I got on the train. And I remember what we did before, how I get over to Kennedy Center. I said, well, how did you get inside the Kennedy Center? He said, I told him what happened. He said, come on in, son, because you came in from Baltimore in the dark.
Wow.
So again, these kids were I mean,
Mhm.
they were very independent minded and they knew
Mhm.
how to survive. And that was one of the
Mhm.
stories I always think about, how this young man wanted to get from Baltimore to DC for an event that he knew could help him out. And that said a lot about his character and what he wanted to do for the
It
program.
also says a lot about you, but you have a video that we're Katanya, I don't know if you can hear me, but it would be great if we could have Rod introduce the video and
Yes.
let it play for a few minutes.
Okay, yes. On October 16th, 1995, something very special happened in Washington, D.C., and it was really the start of what really started Black Professional Men, because we understood what we had to do. So could you hit that tape? And it's something you will not forget. Hit that tape, please, if you can.
We're
Can
going
she?
to deal with the technology.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But we got the right one back
Right,
there.
right. But just think, back in 1995, there was almost a million men in the mall.
Hmm.
There was no situation that happened January the 6th of last year. But I'll get off my soapbox about that. But
Okay.
again, but again, something happened there, and this young man made a speech, and it kind of turned everyone's head and said, "Okay, this the youth is speaking. Now we got to do what we got to do. Here we go. Is this it?
Okay. She's coming up. She's putting
Okay,
it up now.
okay, got you. No, no, this is a song. This is a song. This is a song. No, that song. The speech. The speech.
Okay.
Well, students heard this song every day.
Okay. But let her do this
Okay,
because I
okay,
think it's getting started.
okay, sure.
I'm not. Oh, okay. She's turning it up.
Okay, sure.
Something inside. Thanks, Katanya.
Thanks, Katrina.
The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Our lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you. 'Cause there's something inside so strong, so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough. Well, we know better. Just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Something inside so strong. And I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You All that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, when we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway, 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 because there's something inside so strong, inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You know that my pride was gone. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong. You know that my pride was gone. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong. Something inside so strong.
Amen.
Marsha, I wish I could have seen Maisha and Annika and Denise, because every day
Hi,
at school
I'm
122.
Josie Davis, and I'm about to show you a breakthrough hydration
That's
nutrient
not what we want to do.
care experts.
Jose, Josie, you need to go. Okay. She was
But
not part of the story.
No, she's not. But that song started their day every day at school
What?
122.
Oh, wait a minute. Start that again.
The principal played that song every morning, every day at school 122 when I met those kids.
What?
Yes, and Maisha's going to talk more about that. Tanisha's going to talk more about that, and Annika. Maisha is actually a teacher back at the school where I met her at. She came back home to teach those kids.
So is Maisha backstage?
She should be. Maisha
So
would.
let's bring Maisha on, since we're right after the music, if we have her here.
Maisha, where are you?
So how did you meet Maisha?
Maisha is one of the students that we had regarding the new students that came part of Project Raise. She was one of my leaders.
Mhm.
Maisha, I shouldn't make the analogy. Maisha was my Queen Latifah, like in the show it was a show that came on. She was the leader. She was the
Okay.
leader, and and everyone followed Maisha. Maisha and Jerome were my leaders. Annika, Kalia, Denise, they were my leaders. We had a lot of leaders in that program. Also, it was very unique that Mrs. Woods and Miss Holly actually had a special program called Crystal Girls that she was actually mentoring those young ladies too.
Crystal Girls.
Crystal Girls.
I love it.
And she instilled certain things in those young ladies, which they'll share with you, because they had such inner beauty that it was always, when we used to have activities at the other schools, the other kids will always be jealous of how our girls were, how they carried themselves. They had such an aura about themselves. They knew who they were, and no one's going to turn them around.
Okay, so I'm gonna get with Katanya because she's not answering. I don't know what's going on in the background, so we may have some technical
No
issues.
problem. Okay. I don't know, where's Maisha? Oh, Denise
Okay,
is here.
bring everybody in. I don't know who's there.
Denise is here. Denise is here.
Okay, so she's gonna bring them in one by one, and you can introduce them.
Okay, this is Christopher Wright, who actually was a teacher at Poly, who actually mentored Tavon, and he's going to share some things regarding their relationship. Also mentored my nephew Adam Dickerson too. Tavon And Adam they were like Yogi and Boo Boo. They were always together. There's Vera Dorsey. Vera Dorsey was one of the mentors of Project Raise. She worked with Donnice. Donnice I think she's down in Texas right now. A big time person regarding the beauty products down in Texas right now.
Okay.
Who else popped up on the screen?
Well, we have Miss Dorsey.
Miss Dorsey. Vera, how you doing today? We can't hear you.
She's got her mic off.
Hit the mic. Hit the mic.
All right, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay. Could you share with the audience your experience regarding being a mentor with Project Raise and how you came about and what you saw in the development of the young people, especially the girls in general?
Yes, it was quite a while ago, but I had to go back and get my memory together. However, I've been mentoring for years, and I think I'm still mentoring. In that Project Raise program, it was a program in which you definitely went into the projects and you went in with the parents understanding that you were going to work with their children. That gave me some, I had to pause to be sure that the parent felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to set up I tried to make a nice relationship with the parents so that they would feel comfortable with me taking their child outside of the house, because we would go to activities and I would take Donnice to activities where she would be away from the home. I would take her shopping sometimes to get her little things that she may not be able to have. In the beginning, she was very quiet. And then as we developed our relationship, and that means that you have to be consistent. You have to keep showing up to see that you're not just there for show, that you are there to really, so that the parent can feel that you really have an interest in their child. So that was my main objective when I was working with my mentoree at that time.
And that's huge, though, Miss Dorsey, for the parents to be able to feel comfortable with you.
Exactly.
What was your methodology? How did you develop those relationships? Because they're not easy.
Well, I guess I'm a person that likes to talk. So we would just have general conversations. I would tell them what I wanted to do, and I would ask the parent, the mother, their mother, would you mind if I would take her to a movie, maybe? Mm-hmm. Or would you mind if we're going out, is there anything special that you think she may like to have when we go shopping or if we go to lunch? And as I did that with the parent, then I would tell the daughter, what it is we were going to do. I wanted to first get to the parent to get her approval. And once I had her approval, then I could feel comfortable working with my mentee. So that's kind of how I did it.
But and it's not easy. So, no, I mean, you're saying it, so it's just flowing, right? But to gain trust for people who have been abused by the system, abused by the school system, by the government and everything else, and just how, we have a person here in town that talks about food deserts, that too many Black people live in food deserts where we can't walk to the local store in order for us to take care of our families. We got to deal with all the secondhand foolishness in the corner stores, right? Yes. So this was not an easy task for you to do, and I commend all of you. And the whole purpose of this show is to talk about mentoring and to walk away, for people who are watching, to walk away with understanding that we all need to be able to mentor at some point, at some time, to our young people.
I'm mentoring, I belong to an organization called Women Behind the Community. Mm-hmm. And we have worked with fifth graders getting ready to go into middle school.
Okay.
And the purpose of working, and we did it only the girls because it was a women's organization, and we felt that we could connect with the girls easier than we could with the boys. So they kind of had men for the boys and ladies for the women. Ladies with the little girls, with fifth graders. We're older people, so therefore we felt like sometimes the girls would not maybe be wanting to hear what you have to say. But as we set up projects for them, they came to us at the school. We were at Edgewood was one that is the last school that we have been working with. And with those fifth graders, we were preparing them to go to middle school. We wanted them to be able to go to middle school and feel confident in who they were and how they would be received. So we prepared them and took them to colleges so that they could have a desire to even want to continue with their education. We had speakers to come in and talk about dressing. We had others to come in to do, and we ourselves would talk about writing thank you notes. We did all little small things. We had people to come in and we brought books on bullying. So we tried to teach them at each level so that because we knew they were going into middle school and what they were going to face. If any of us remember when we left elementary school or went into the middle school, you were a little intimidated as to how you were going to be received and whether you were going to be bullied or messed up. So therefore, that's how we started out.
But I think what's really interesting, though, is the reality is people don't know what they don't know. So if you don't know that you're supposed to be doing something, you can't do that. And people become very judgmental with this expectation that this young girl or this young boy, well, you should know that you're not to wear that. You should know that this is how you age. You should know. But if you don't know what you don't know, how do you expect them to know? And far too many instructors that are in a teaching role, be they in a school system or a church or wherever, they're caught in what they already know, opposed to going back to when they were that age and trying to figure it out. And particularly if you're in an environment that is sometimes too often difficult to navigate. And those are realities, and we have to deal with the realities of our children. We have to deal with the fact that if they come to school and they're not dressed right, or if they come to school and they act hungry and they gobble down food, or they are withdrawn, we as a community have to pay attention to what our children are experiencing and their behaviors that are impacting how they move forward. And this show is so important for us to be able to have a real live conversation so that our whole community can hear what you all have done, and that they can at least be able to offer something in their own environment by what we're going to say today. But we're going to take a little break. And
Marsha, we have Maisha there, and I'm excited. And
I understand, and Maisha's going to be next.
Yeah,
but what we need to do is bring in the Black Mental Health Alliance and do our little commercial. And we've got Cheryl Maxwell, who holds a master's degree of MHS in Human Services, where she graduated from Lincoln University, and she matriculated between Capella University's doctoral program and completed all that coursework in support of her doctorate degree. And she has a second master's in nonprofit management and leadership, and she's the founder of Caroline Ann Foundation, where she's the president, and which is also her sister. And so when we talk about Black mental health, Cheryl had the experience of her sister Caroline Ann Watts, who committed suicide in 2010 and had been diagnosed with depression while attending the University of Maryland. So the Carol Ann Foundation works to provide opportunity for education, exhibitions, reproductions, but also giving the word of what people should be doing. So if we could let Katanya bring on Miss Cheryl Good Maxwell. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us.
Let me unmute. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
now I can hear you. I
Right.
can't
Good
hear you if you
evening,
got the
everybody.
mic off.
Oh, listen, the song. Oh my gosh. It took me
Girl.
out of all of the notes I had put down here. Marsha, my word, there's something inside so strong. My,
Mhm.
I've been watching recently a series, and it chronicles the number of slave owners in Europe just before the abolition of slaves. 46,000 slave owners were compensated by the government because they were no longer able to own slaves. So, therefore, they were paid the value that they indicated that their slaves had. That's incredible. It's incredible to think that they were paid, but the slaves themselves were not. Can you imagine as we carry this forward to present day and the atmosphere that we have, the political atmosphere, the pandemic, which to our youth today, it's much like one of the plagues that people in Europe suffered. It's incredible. I think that our mental health, not just our the adults, but our children, it's interwoven because we know that the strong basis for security, the strong basis for a confidence and self-esteem, those things are related to the environment and the homes that our children are a part of. And we do know that this disruption that we have experienced over the last 2 to 2.5 years has taken its toll. Our young people, can you imagine a 10-year-old contemplating suicide? Though the age range of those young people who are not just contemplating but are succeeding has increased drastically. We need and we are doing something, I believe, that is so important. You're talking about mentoring. That is getting us closer to the village concept that I believe was responsible for our flourishing, and our ancestors understood the importance of it. Getting back to where we are reaching out to touch one and bring one along with us. The Carolyn Ann Foundation, I'm proud to say, is also partnered with an organization. It's called the Dream Academy. Perhaps you guys are familiar with it. It was founded by Whitney Phipps, one of
Yes.
our gospel performers.
Yes.
Well, we're glad. As a matter of fact, Marsha, before joining you, I just finished our virtual session with our kids where we had them to write a poem that they're going to give to their teacher. All the comments that were made about the importance of what are the ingredients in that kind of situation. Someone said you've got to be consistent. I say reliable, supportive, which means that you're, of course, looking for ways to fill the gap. But then sometimes it means also being able to communicate in a very honest way with our youth about themselves and about the world around them. Also, discovery and exposure. To make certain that they understand it's a wider world out there, and that there's something in them, the gifts that have been instilled, whether or not they realize it, we're going to help and support you so that you know that those gifts are valuable. You've got to excuse me, I was hospitalized earlier today. But I was so happy that the tests were negative, and I got to come home. And then you called me, and okay, so let's get to.
Yeah, yes. And see, that's why I love my friends because they just go on, they just bring us
I'm
a
just
wealth of
right
information.
now.
But Cheryl, the
Yes,
other piece that is really important and what you have brought to our attention today, I want to be able to connect you and Rod and the mentoring programs that are going on with all of these people here.
absolutely.
And I think this would be a great dimension not only with the Carol Ann Foundation, but Black Mental Health Alliance, and
Yeah.
how everybody can work together to resolve these issues that some of our children are going through.
Right.
So tell us about what's happening this weekend on the 6th, and then we're going to continue our show.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
This coming Friday. See, you did that to me. You
I'm
played that
just fast,
song.
whatever. You know how I am. Don't, I don't even know why you talking about. Go on and say what you're supposed to say.
This Friday, May the 6th, we are having what's called the Tee Off to Mental Health. It's a golf tournament, and the proceeds from this golf tournament are going to go into the programming that the the Black Mental Health Alliance that we do for our youth and young adults. It is designed to support what is called the My Mind is Art. It's going to be a 4-week program where we're going to have our kids focus on life skills and coping and workforce development, psychoeducation. We want to make certain that we are taking the time to bring that exposure to our youth and thinking out of the box. Because I don't know how many of them have had the opportunity of being on the golf course and understanding that game and the importance it is to the psyche. I'm going to learn a lot too.
And the game that is the real game that's being played out on that golf course with the big players. That's a whole nother conversation. That's another show.
Right. Absolutely. But again, we at the Black Mental Health Alliance, we have been working to keep that conversation not just at the forefront, but also making certain that the conversation is linked with tools that can be used. You know, Marsha, that a part of the programming at the Black Mental Health Alliance includes a free service of linking those persons who need mental health services with providers who provide the services. So we're very, very excited about this activity that we'll have on May the 9th, but also you can tell we're passionate about the work.
Yes, you are. Now, would you please give them the website so that they can go to the website? Oh, see, I love Tanya, thank you.
Isn't
The
that
Tee Off
yes.
to Mental Health at Forest Park, and it's BMH, whatever that says, Tee Off to 2022.
At
So
eventbrite.com.
Okay.
I might also sneak in our website address, which would be www.blackmentalhealth.com.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Cheryl, thank you so much. We're going to catch up because I know I'm late on doing some stuff. Okay.
Gotcha. All right.
Thank you so much.
You are absolutely welcome. You guys keep up the good work. It just makes my heart leap.
Right. And that takes a lot for you to be leaping. Bye.
Talk to you later.
And I think what's really important here is that we don't, as a people, want to deal with mental health and our mental health issues. And too often we're in situations where we need intervention. So I'm glad that there's an alliance with us and the organization. And hopefully you two will be able to connect with Cheryl in your endeavors. And she's very creative in how she can create programs for young people.
Well, actually, Marsha, one of the big issues over the last 3 years, actually, even before the pandemic, has been the mental situations on college campuses.
Really?
Yes, and I mean, that's a whole different discussion itself. I know Tavon will probably say some things about that, and even Dr. Chris Wright will say some things too. But again, thank you so much for bringing her on board. I'll definitely be reaching out to her. Again, Miss Maisha is right there, and she's a teacher. And I let Maisha tell her story because it's a very beautiful story. So Maisha, you're looking glamorous as ever. So come on now, talk to us. Tell them your story and Project Raise and what you're doing right now and why.
Oh, great.
Hello, thank you for having me. Yes, I was a part of Project Raise. They came to us in 1991, I believe. We were in 5th grade. I had just came back from living in Seattle, Washington, and I had met Mr. Carter because my mom was in the military, so we were just getting back. Um, but we were born and raised in Murphy Homes projects, so coming back, it was back to a shock to me because I was just living somewhere where I didn't see any of the things that I was accustomed to. But when we met Mr. Carter, um, that was a change for us. So as I think her name is Miss Dorsey. I was listening to her as she said, when they came in, Mr. Carter let us know what the program was going to be about. We were getting mentors, so we were very excited about that. And as Miss Dorsey said, living in the projects and you coming into, this neighborhood and you trying to get these kids in to something, parents are kind of like, like, who are these people in our business? Why they here? So they really had to get the trust of our parents to, come in and get us. Once they got that trust with our parents, we were good to go. I think, um, my first experience, like being living in the projects, is like we don't see anything but the projects. However, when we met Mr. Carter and we got into Project Raise, we had got to experience a lot of different things that I know I wouldn't have experienced if I wasn't in a program. So we went on like college tours, just as Miss Dorsey said. He took us to the Apollo. We did just like different things. I learned etiquette, how to walk, how to talk, how to ride horses, different things he had us in. You name it. It was totally different, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, we want to be a Carter kid. We want to be a Project Raise. Like, how do we get into it?" But I'm like, he allowed some of the people to get in, but they followed us from elementary school all the way up to high school. I still keep in touch with my mentor. Um,
Donna.
Now I still keep in touch with her. She'll, text me every now and again, see how I'm doing. But being in that program really inspired me to come back and give back to my community. So right after, being in Project Raise and everything, I knew like, okay, I have to go to college if I want to do something. Because we didn't, before that, I didn't know about college. I didn't really hear, our teachers say stuff about it, but actually being able to go and visit colleges and see those things, meeting people, even stand on college campuses, because they were some of the things that they allowed us to do, got me into that mindset, like I don't have to stay here. I was raised here, but I don't have to stay and be here. So um after getting into Project Raise and everything, I ended up going to college. My first thing was to become a nurse, but after seeing blood and stuff, that took me away. And I became a teacher, and went back to the elementary school that we met Mr. Carter in, because I know that they needed people, or teachers that cared, that will be able to show them experiences, and just relate to them in a way that they, because our students, again, and I know it's probably hard for Miss Dorsey and them to try to get us, some of our parents were easy to come in, but I know we had some hard parents that was like, you coming in to get my child for what? No.
Mm.
But in the same way, that's the same things that's happening to this day. But once you get that trust with your students and everything is good. So with me being back at my school, it's still hard. I mean, I still see some of the same things that we went through when we were younger. We don't have a lot of textbooks, stuff like that for the students. Lack of money in our district, although Fox 45 will tell you different. Um, but I try to, I'm as real as I can be with my students. And although I don't have like the resources that we had when we were, in Project Raise, some of my friends that was in Project Raise come back to help. Some of them give money when I need stuff for my students, and everything. So
That's wonderful.
that's my
You
story.
you know what's really interesting is that you have gone back and you're supporting a community that you came from, right? And
Yeah.
seeing what needs to be done because you already know it. You already had that experience and you're navigating. What would be three things that you think the potential uh, mentors, people who are out there in the audience who could become mentors, what are 3 or 4 things that you can think of, Maisha, that they should be doing or considering
To
to be a mentor and to access a community?
what they should be doing,
Yes, or what they could do.
could do. What do you mean? Like
So
giving
so
time?
I'm in a school, or I'm working. I'm thinking about becoming as an example, I'm thinking about becoming a mentor. I don't know what to do. What should it be? What should I do? I don't live too far from a couple of schools, and I'm in a Black neighborhood. How do I do that? How do I break the ice, or is there a conduit that I need to go through?
Yeah, that's the one thing that we're trying to work on now, because a couple of my friends, we all thought that we should be able to give back, come back and do, some of the things that Mr. Carter did for us. So we're now in the process of trying to do that. Of course, because I'm in school, my principal allows me to bring in, but I'm not sure that's the thing we was going to get with Mr. Carter with, because I'm not too sure of exactly what we have to do in order to do it. Like, we talk to parents and get permission to take them. I take them out to church with me. I'll take them anywhere with me. They stay the night at my house. Like, the parents allow it. Like, if
Wow.
So I'm not too sure, and I have a couple people that is interested in doing it, like some of our old classmates. But I'm not too sure. Like, that's something that I don't know. I know, like, contacting the school to get somebody, permission from principals could be it, but I'm not too sure.
Marsha, I'll give you a call. We'll talk about it. Okay.
I'd like to interject here. Are you
well-
asking the question about what you should do, or how, when you want to be a mentor? From my perspective, I think, and it may not be what you're looking for, but I think a mentor should be consistent, should be compassionate, and should care, and should be steadfast, because to go in and out of a person's life and to make promises and not be there and not follow through is not, to me, a good mentor.
Yeah, I agree. You have to be consistent.
I think you're looking for that. When that person says, I want to be a mentor, you want to know, do you really have the time? Can you give your time
to do it and be realistic? Yeah. Thank you, Miss Dorsey. Why don't we go to Tavon McKee? Hi, how you doing, Tavon? Thank you for joining us.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
So can you share your experience of being a mentor and how you've connected with Mr. Carter?
Absolutely. I want to first start by telling Maisha that I'm a little jealous because Mr. Carter never took us to the Apollo or the ride horses.
See?
Sorry.
You got something to do, Maisha. You done started some mess, girl. You started some mess.
We were the stars. We were the first.
He put you on blast.
Oh, Mr. Carter, I still want to go horseback riding. It's not too late.
That is hilarious.
I actually took him to the llama farm also.
Oh,
what?
man.
Yeah, I took him to the llama
never been to a llama
I got that on tape, Maisha.
Which was really bad for Black kids, because we never been. We were running all over the place.
Well, at least we know who got all the good trips.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, my journey started with Mr. Carter back in, I forget the year, but I was in 7th grade. I don't know how many years ago that was.
Many years ago.
Many years ago.
Many moons.
Yeah. It started back in 7th grade, and I had a lot of friends who talked bad about having a mentor because none of us really knew what it was. And, in the school environment that I was in, it was almost frowned upon to even somewhat try to do the right thing. It was just the culture at the time. And when I was introduced to the idea of having a mentor, I was laughed at by some friends. And it never bothered me, but they would say, what do you need a mentor for? You don't need a mentor, but the guidance that I had at home, in addition to what I knew I wanted out of life, at least what I thought I wanted, I knew that it was more to it, and getting a mentor to help guide me throughout that process and that journey was real big. I met Mr. Carter, and he did what he does, which is networking and putting people together. He's like the king of networking and collaborations, and he put me with a guy by the name of Brad Red, and I still talk to Brad to this day.
Where's Brad?
He's a guy he became a part of my life almost instantly. It was one of those things where we connected right away. And as Ms. Dorsey spoke on the trust, it started out, we were clicking on all cylinders. The trust developed quick. He showed me that, if I'm going to be in your life, I want you to just listen to me and follow my lead. And it was something that it was a no-brainer for me, because I had the mentorship coming from many different angles, but he was a guy who was hands-on and compassionate. He was all of those adjectives that Ms. Dorsey just mentioned. And when we connected in middle school, he followed me through high school. We talked regularly. Every weekend we had hour-long conversations when I was in college. And he just followed me on throughout my journey. And still to this day, I'll get on the road and drive 5-6 hours down the road to go see him and hang out with him, because we've established that type of relationship back then. And one of the only thing that he ever asked of me when he was serving as my mentor when I was a young teenager, is that at some point in my life, he want me to do the same thing that he's doing for me.
You got to give back.
Absolutely. And that was something that he drove home to me, and so I'm in the education system now, but I never imagined, if you would have asked me if I wanted to be a teacher, it was the last thing on my mind. But when I got introduced to it, it was something that I just fell in love with because I was a natural at it. Like Maisha mentioned, we are those kids. And when you are those kids, the passion that you have for doing what you do is extremely high.
Yes.
So I just went on, my daily life, just making sure I'm giving back to anybody that I can get my hands on. So my mentor journey, as a mentor, yes, we use that word, but I try to make sure in some relationships, I make sure I keep it professional. I let them know that this is a professional relationship as well, because to some degree, I don't want some of the young men and boys and girls that I work with to think that it's a friendship, because I want them to see that it's something bigger. I am you, but we can go here as well. Yeah. So that's, in short, that's my story with Rod, and he'll continue to build that on as he introduced some of the other callers that are on the line.
Yes, and we do have, and let me just say this to you, Tavon, for you to be able to have spent the time that you spent with Rod Carter and all of the experiences that you all, between you and Maisha and others, those are blessings that God has created an environment that changed the trajectory of your lives. And,
Absolutely.
people, we don't always think about the big picture, and the big picture and the long game is, who are these people now? Here's somebody who's lived in the projects and going through whatever those issues may have been, people who are mixed in homes that were broken, people whose parents gave them away. All of those are trauma filled, right? And that's real. That's real. And to be able to navigate out of that and now be in a position from your own personal experience because now you can have a real conversation with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no joke. This ain't something you got out of handbook number 101, right? This is straight up, no chaser, in your face. I know what I'm talking about because I was you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
And with that being said, the kids that you connect with and develop some of the strongest bonds with are those kids who know that you really care, that you're about what you're doing, and showing them how passionate you are. Those relationships, sometimes we don't even know impact that we'll have on, some of the young people we work with. And I'm sure in many of the situations that Mr. Carter's been in, he did not really know and have that foresight for the how powerful he has been in some of the young men's lives and young women's lives that he's met and encountered throughout the years. And just to say, some of the young men that I've taught in elementary and middle school, they go and graduate high school and they come back to me and I hire them to work for me.
Wow.
So it's been a blessing to just for me, I was able to get the proper guidance from what a mentor really is, and with that, you also identify what a mentor is not. So
Ooh, Lord, say that one more time.
Absolutely. So when you know what it is not, your being becomes just being that person, being that solid person every single day of your life, because you never know who's watching. Having kids of my own and being in that school setting, if I wear my hair a certain way, a kid might just tell me, hey, I want to wear my hair like yours. But you just never know how these kids are watching you do what you do.
That's right. And it's the smallest thing that you sometimes don't even pay attention to that they will bring to your attention, because they're watching all of us. They're watching every move we make, and they're creating their own inventory of what is and what isn't. And the key is how do we help them shape it into the right way and deliver it? We got a couple of people in the back I want to bring on, and I think we got enough room. Terrell Parker and Denise Dry.
Yes.
and Denise Dry. I don't know if we
All
can.
right, Denise. There she goes.
Look at this. We got everybody. Hi, y'all.
Can I make a statement about both before
How you doing?
talking?
Yes, please do.
Okay, Denise is very special because when Doc started,
oh, that's scary when he starts talking about you special, Denise.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Our birthdays one day apart, so we're Sagittarius, so we don't hold nothing back, right, Denise? No, we don't. Okay, when we started doing those special programs for the youth, Denise was part of that first pilot program. Remember, Denise was at City College with Heavy D, MC Light, and who was the other person? I forgot the other person, but she was right there.
It was Kelly, the girl that played. What was her name? Laura from Family Matters.
Family Matters. She was right there with that first setting that we did regarding pre-college programs. We had the setting there. Tony Robinson was the one that recruited me. He said, Rod, I can see a vision. You know how Tony is. I have a vision. And Denise was right there. And she was so quiet. I was scared. She was so quiet that day. She was overwhelmed by everything. Terrell, let me say about Terrell. I met Terrell the second phase of BP, and we had a school on the east side at Lombard. We had a school on the west side. And Terrell, 8th grade, was very athletic. He says to me, I said, Terrell, what's going to happen if you break your leg? I'll be a lawyer, and walked away.
Yeah.
Walked away, so I'll be a lawyer. 4 years later, Terrell's about to go off to college, and he was giving me a lot of gray hairs. So Tavon said, Mr. Carter, give them to me. Let me take over from now. And what happened, Terrell picked the story up from there.
I mean, we could just briefly sum it up. I mean,
don't be all modest. Just go on and talk about it.
I
just for people to learn, Terrell. Go ahead and do you, baby.
So basically, I met Tavon, and he kind of got me in college. I wasn't thinking about going to college. I was from the block. I thought you could just go to the league from high school, I guess. But he took me under his wing. I went to Glenville. I mean, and then the rest was history. I kind of went there.
What's the history? We don't know what it is.
I went to Glenville. I graduated. I was a 4-year starter at linebacker. I never played linebacker until I got there. I was a receiver. I went there. They put me at linebacker. I started 4 years. I went on to play in Germany. Then I played in Canada. And now I went to law school in 2017. And now I'm currently working for the Ravens in their front office. So I'm doing a little bit of scouting, a little bit of contract stuff, just it's kind of like a diverse role, but they just kind of use me for everything though. And plus I'm from the city, so it's kind of good for them to kind of, when we bring guys in and stuff, to kind of get them familiar with the city. But I mean, long story short, I basically, Tavon kind of just showed me the way of I ain't never really met nobody like Tavon or knew anybody that was so forward thinking and just kind of he wasn't with the stuff that I was used to. All the people I knew, all the older dudes I knew, they were street dudes. They was basically in the mix. So me and my best friend, we kind of like, he went to Towson, and then I went to Glenville with Tavon, and then Tavon just showed me the way. And like, so I always remember this one day. It was my freshman year. I was about to be on the team. I was about to play. I was finally about to get on the field or whatever. And Tavon told me, like, today we get them pads on. You gotta go out there and bust heads. And ever since that day, I think that day right there kind of changed my life and kind of made me into the person that I am today. Because ever since then I've been busting heads. I mean, not even just football, but just life, just so forward, just keep moving forward, keep building, and keep trying to do new things.
Okay, I want to get to Denise in a second, but I want to share some things that he missed out. When he went to college, he actually said he was under Tavon's wing. Actually, Tavon ended up playing professional football in the Rainer Football League. And I remember looking on Facebook, Terrell had 2 young ladies on his shoulders in Barcelona. I said, Barcelona, what the hell is going on? He said, Mr. Carter, I'm taking some semester off, and I'm going to play some ball in Europe, make some money, but I'm going to still graduate. I said, no problem.
It was Ibiza. It wasn't Barcelona. It was Ibiza.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
Ibiza.
Excuse me. So anyway, he comes out, he's playing ball. I'm watching the Canadian Football League on Thursday nights with my beers, and he got hit. And he got hurt. And all I could see is, oh my God, there goes his life right there. But Tavon said, Mr. Carter, no, I got this. When he came back home, I got photos of them over at the school doing their little workouts the whole 9 yards. But this is the beauty of the story. Tavon tried out for the Ravens. He didn't make the Ravens, but they loved his spirit. And that's how he ended up getting involved with the Ravens. And when Terrell got with the Ravens, and then, of course, last year, he graduated from law school. He told me back in the 8th grade, I'm going to be a lawyer. And he did it.
Manifested.
Right. Denise, I know you got something to share. I can see it in your eyes. Tell the situation with you.
All right. So, like, me and Maisha, we from the same space. So, went to 122 where she teaches now. So, we've known each other pretty much our entire lives for, like, over 35 years.
Oh.
We were both 12. We went to charm school. But as I was 12, I also had a passion for doing hair. That was established all the way in the 7th grade. So everybody knew that. Everybody came to me, whatever. So fast forward, the story I like to tell is when you're in middle school, you usually pick your 3 top schools that you want to go to for high school. So you do that in the 8th grade, I believe. And then in the 9th grade, you see which schools accepted you and all of that. So you can prepare for that trade in the 10th grade year. So I was accepted to Carver for cosmetology. And Mr. Carter actually pulled like a strong arm move with all of us because as we said, or as you heard Maisha say, we were acquired by the program, you could say, back when we were in elementary school. And we went to middle school together, which was Booker T. For the most part, everybody kind of stayed together from elementary to middle. But in high school is where you generally would separate. So Mr. Carter comes in. He knows Irby Miller, which was the principal of Edmondson at the time. That's a VOTEC school. That was probably my 3rd choice. I had already been accepted to Carver. So he pulled a strong arm move. Had a special meeting.
He pulled a strong arm. What'd you say? He pulled a strong arm move.
That's what I said. He got me and Maisha and about 10 other of us that was in the program in the office at Emerson with the principal as he acquired our files from the different schools that we already was accepted to so we can be together at Emerson.
I love it.
Yeah.
So with that, wait.
Oh, there's more. Oh, this is a real story.
Because I had already been accepted in Carver for cosmetology, that didn't transfer over to Edmondson. So that meant I ended up in typing as opposed to cosmetology at Carver.
I didn't know that.
So Mr. Carter come through. That's why I said the Sagittarius in him. That's probably the biggest reason why I like him, because he think how I think, or he do how I do. Came through in the clutch. I'm in the 10th grade. I had already we in Emerson now, and I never went to Carver from 9th grade on, from start to finish. 10th grade the trade come in. So now they put me in typing. I'm upset. Mr. Carter comes up to school. He's inquiring. I don't know what he did, who he talked to, how he found out. But he comes to me and he has a unique situation that if I could just jump on it, we got something here. He said, I got an opportunity for you. It's in regards to cosmetology. I said, I want to hear that because I don't want to be in no typing. And I already accepted somewhere else. So you got me to come all the way up here. He said, it's a girl in cosmetology. It's time for them to pay their kids. If she can't afford it. If you can get the money, it's only $250. You can be in there. I said, I can get it today. I can get it right now. So long story short, he came through in the clutch and he got me back into my cosmetology program right on time. Probably like a month later, I found a way to make up the time in community service to catch up my hours. But I definitely am still a cosmetologist license holder.
All right, miss. When I get out of COVID, I'm gonna have to come to your shop.
Yeah, you can come to me. I'll blow you down. I can blow that out. So
I ain't had it blown in a minute, as you can see.
I got you. I got you.
Well, I'm not playing. Well, as soon as I come out of COVID, because I've been sequestered for a couple of years. But as soon as I come out, I'm coming to you, Tanise.
Okay. Don't play with me because you know.
I don't be playing. Look, that's the first thing I'm gonna do is get this flat.
Yeah, Maisha the teacher. I'm the cosmetologist. Okay.
I understand that concept. I'm coming. You just hold on. We got another 9 months. I'm thinking.
Okay. But that was
wonderful.
one unique story. That was like a big chunk, but like just
That's
to give
huge.
a brief synopsis. I was paired with my mentor was Sandra Meekins, or is Sandra Meekins. I was paired with her. She is an arena player legend, I guess, an alumni as in myself. I attended Arena Players 2 summers when I was a youth, and that was definitely a unique and creative contribution to my interest in the art form. And it was also convenient because it was very close to where we lived. So it was in walking distance.
Good.
And as we know, that is historically like the oldest Black-owned theater in the United States. Miss Orange, I stopped past there a few months ago, or like I'll say close to a year ago. As Miss Sandra was there, I guess she kind of is a helping hand, but Miss Orange is still there.
Yes.
And a lot of the original people, so they remember a lot. So I guess they can say they remember me, but I attended like back in 1992, so I was like 12 years old back then. And that was definitely something that I still include on my resume. That along with the Alvin Ailey experience at Morgan State University.
Oh, Ailey Camp.
Yeah.
Yelma Ashley. I was executive director.
Yeah.
Right. So I went there.
Did you remember me?
I feel like I do now that I see your face, but that was so long ago. But
yes. So did you go out to UMBC when we went out there as well?
To do the final performance.
Well, we went out there. We were doing the Ailey Camp at Morgan. With Iantha Tucker, who was the teacher at that time, and Fidelma Ashley was the executive director. She wasn't executive. She was the outreach director, and she ran the program. She was the Ailey Camp director.
Well, I think
then we went to UMBC as well. So I'm glad to hear you were involved in that.
I know.
I think I was only at
wait a minute, Rod. What would you say, Tanise?
I think I only did the Morgan campus because I think we did the Murphy Art Center when we did the final performance or something.
Yes. So you were in my camp. I am so excited. I am so excited. I haven't seen any of the students. That was back in the 1990s.
Where's our?
Yeah, that was like 92. That was the summer.
Oh, I'm excited. This is wonderful. And
so to touch back on what Maisha said about riding horses and all of that, that was me and her. So we went to charm school, and the instructor name was Miss Savoy. I remember that. And she had a burgundy Mercury Sable or something, and she would pick us up from the Milford Mills subway station.
I love it.
and pick us both up and take us to her house. And she had like a, like a finished basement or something that she would do her lessons in. And she would teach us how to walk and get in the cars and how to,
That's right.
recognize the settings at the table when we go to a formal dinner. And we played tennis and we rode horses. And, she showed us how to use our cutlery and how to drink from glasses and how to accept things and open doors and walk through and just be bougie. It was bougie. And we know how to be bougie too, but
As
we
long as you,
know how to
you
be.
have to be able to. I call it having a foreign language. So you can turn it off and on when as necessary.
Right.
You hang out with the girls.
But
And,
every
go
time
like,
I tell people,
what's up? And still go, excuse me, we can do this.
Right. Every time I tell people I went to charm school, they like, what? And then I say some stuff and they be like, oh, all right, I see. Yes, we rode horses and ponies. We went to tennis practice. We went to dinner services. She showed us how to, properly enter a room and get in and out of a car and how to use your feet and how to comb your hair. She showed us a lot of grooming and real, feminine, personalized, hygienic, how to carry yourself as a lady type of stuff. So that was a real good experience. And it was something else I wanted to say because it was a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to kind of touch on the Alvin Ailey and the charm school, arena players. We went to a lot of stuff. We went to the stepping in DC where they did like the step competition. We used to go to those a lot.
I love it.
I think we even went to a Washington's Bullets game.
We did.
But they were playing Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan
was there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we went to that. So we seen Michael Jordan in DC playing the Bullets via those tickets. So that worked out good for all of us. So we saw that was a bonus.
Right.
And we went to a lot of stuff like museums. We took a lot of trips to places we, like Maisha said, we would have not normally have been accustomed to going.
Right.
So I praise this. I praise Project Raise. And the message and the experience behind it a lot, even in my adult life. I talk about it a lot in brief conversation. The experiences, like I said, I'll still list them on my resume.
Okay.
I need to just hold on one second, Rod, because I think this is for me. It's really this whole conversation is really powerful.
Right. Thank you.
And every person that's been on here, be it a mentor or a mentee, we don't even know what we don't know until somebody takes the time to love us and to show us. And if we look at all of the people that have made that impact and changed your lives, that one little thing brings the light bulb. It turns the light bulb on to be able to see how bright the rest of the world is, because you can't always see the forest for the trees. You can't always see the light because of the darkness that too often many of us are caught in.
Right.
That we don't even know what we don't know. And for Rod and all of the people who have supported you all through this process, my hat's off. My heart is just full right now, because look at who you are now. And it was that one little seed or the second little seed that something happened and the light bulb went off in your head to say, yeah, this may be bougie, but it sure is cool. This may be bougie, but I sure like this right here. This may be bougie, but I like getting on them horses. This may be bougie, but I like going over here. I like being in these places. I like dressing like this. I like eating like this. But we don't know what we don't know until somebody takes the time to love us enough. This man's been all over the world playing and talking to folks. Cheryl, I'm talking about you because you looked down and I got you. And so, but look at those experiences that you had and how Tavon took the time to show you, to push you and show you and open up some doors. We don't know what we don't know. we've got somebody, chap, who said that Denise is the truth. She was in my BCRP orientation class, and they still not ready for this system. That's what
What's that, Rexon Park?
Chap, Loveless, he put that in the chat,
Yes,
and
he
it's
did.
on record on Black USA News. She's coming.
Oh, I know, chap. I know who that is. That's yeah, I was ready to say that's Rexon Parks. I remember him. He like the pastor, like the hood pastor. Yeah. I know him.
He said, yeah. The white one, or white oil.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Now,
over there, little.
I know who that is. I know who that is.
Marsha, I want to share something very personal. And
Go ahead.
Tavon, you know what I'm very leading to. A few years ago, I had a cousin that passed away suddenly. And I was at the funeral home with the family, and there was Tavon on the side, tears just coming down his eyes. I said, Tavon, how do you know Dante? He says, Mr. Carter, Dante was my first coach. I said, Tavon, remember when you worked in the boys' home, Mr. Carter, that gentleman was there, the elder there? He said, yes. I said, that was Dante's grandfather, which means that was my uncle. So again, the situation with Denise, this is a small world, a very small world. You just be surprised who knows who, especially in Baltimore. So again, Tavon, I wasn't aware that my cousin was his coach. I actually was at his first game when he was playing the youth league up in Hanlon Park. And I didn't even go over to mingle around. I would see my cousin right then and there. So the connections are there. Now the audio right now is Tavon's son is about to go off to college another year. And we were having some discussions. And make a long story short, his lacrosse coach is someone I've mentored. And also it happens to be his fraternity brother. So we all got together and his son looked down. I said, you know what, your butt's covered now because your coach and your father are like this already because of fraternity. And Tavon, tell him, didn't his grades go up?
Grades shot through the roof. and Terrell is on the mentoring board for my son as well.
All right. So that's the way I was raised. Marsha, we were talking about that back in the day. We was in South Bend, Indiana. Vera, you know what was back in the day for you. And again, I'm just so pleased at seeing what Maisha.
She's saying that because we got gray hair, Vera.
I put my gray hair out. Okay. So.
What was that? That just didn't even come out. Did it come out right to you? It didn't come out right to me. I don't know. I think you need to retract some of that foolishness. I ain't receiving nothing like that. Excuse me.
Okay, yes, Miss Hughes. I'm sorry. Miss Vera, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll take it.
You know what I'm saying? Because look, we're here for the long haul.
We're seasoned. Okay?
Very seasoned. I have been doing this all. I worked for the government and I interned up to the end as far as mentoring.
Okay.
You know, you need mentoring all through life, not just.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Different stages of your life, you need a mentor.
Yes, and that's huge.
Yes.
And I mentioned that, I don't know if you were on, but I had mentors. I was, in my 50s, 40s, 50s, and, Denise, when I was dealing with you in the 90s, okay, I'm 70 now. And so we sit down and we're talking about, okay, how are you going to deal with where you are, and am I going to embrace it, or is this something that I'm going to just give up because I got some gray hair and got a little ache over here and I just push through, a little something. I don't know what that mess is. So I ain't dealing with it. I ain't buying into not near a bit of it.
There you go.
Near of it. But there have been people along my way that have held my hand and pushed me in the right direction as an adult, that they just see something in you. Somebody once said to me, I see a light in you that you don't see. I see a light. I was like, what you mean? I'm a smarty. What do you mean by a light? What are you talking about a light? I don't understand that. There is something in you that you're not ready to deal with who you are. And so until we can appreciate who we are and open ourselves up to the possibilities, That's the hard part. What are the possibilities are endless, but we don't always see what those possibilities are. And every single one of you on this show are mentors. You are role models. You are the light that these young people need, and maybe not even young people, some of your peers need to help us grow and to be the best we can be. Cheryl, you're not saying nothing. I think you have something to say.
And I mean, everybody said everything that they were supposed to say. I mean, I would say this though, about Mr. Carter. If we talking about Mr. Carter, I will say this though. Like, when I was in the 6th grade, that's when I met Mr. Carter, and kind of like he was like one of the first real people to actually kind of like show me that I can do anything. Like, I really never really thought about. All I thought about was football. Like, I was just a football guy, and I never knew how I was going to play. Didn't play till high school and none of that, but he kind of just like put it in me. He one of the first people I seen wear suits. Like, I ain't know no lawyers growing up and none of that. So they was like the only real professional people I ever met. We ain't never go horseback riding and none of that stuff. But
they were privileged.
They were privileged.
All I remember is we went to DC and got lost. I know that. I don't know.
We did go to DC. I remember about that.
Yeah, I remember that. We got lost, and I ain't seen that. Who was the other guy name? I ain't seen him since that day.
I know. In fact, he lost his job. Okay, because y'all got lost.
I don't know what happened.
We were mad about this horseback ride.
Yeah, bro. We ain't do none of that, bro.
Somebody, please take this young man horseback ride.
Bro, we ain't do none of this stuff.
Y'all just please deal with it.
I know a girl that got a horse, and she be on the avenue with it.
Mr. Carter got to take me. He owe up, man.
I'm real. Like, I really do know the girl, and she really do be on the avenue with that horse. I'm for real.
Nah.
I'm for real.
Oh God, it's too much.
I love it.
I'm dead serious.
And this is up on the avenue?
Yeah, like she'll ride down the avenue. Like, that's no girl.
You have to have a license to ride a horse in the middle of the city?
No, I'm honestly believe she owns that horse and she rides it down the avenue. That's her horse.
Here, whatever. I'm riding my horse.
Yeah.
I love her already.
But Terrell, you're in a situation right now with the Baltimore Ravens, and you're seeing these rookies come in. So as Marsha said, you're in a position now to be a mentor to them. So what's going through your mind when you see some of these young guys come and walk into the door, think they own the world already?
I mean, it's kind of easy for me now because I had a chance to do before the guys get drafted, we hosted like 30 of them, like the top guys. So I had a chance to some of them had like bad character issues, and some of them had just different issues going on when they was coming out. So their draft stock went down. So just spending time with them, I took them to dinner and stuff like that, and I just kind of give them the game. And when they meet me, they kind of see that I'm from the same environment they are, so it kind of disarm them, and they able to just like speak to me and talk to me. And I kind of give them advice, just like, man, like this is a privilege. Like playing in the league is a privilege, and kind of like just letting them know that, like, bro, you don't gotta be that person that you thought you had to be to get to this point. Because that's a lot of us black guys. We feel like we got to be the toughest people in the world, and like they don't understand. Some of these people don't understand that we don't really got to be that. Just be yourself and just be normal, and everything else will play out. Like, and that's kind of the advice I always give those guys. And some of those guys will still text me and stuff, even though they got drafted to other teams. They'll still hit me up like, "Hey, big bro, I want to just what you think about this?" And when they found out I was in law school and stuff, they'll be like, "Hey, you want to read? Hey, what you think about this agent?" Or like, "You want to read this contract for me?" Like they use me as a resource, even though they don't even play for us. And I got a couple relationships with a few guys that's just like top guys, and I like to keep it, keep it private. Like they hit me up, I don't really hit them up, or when they come in town, they'll want to reach out to me and be like, "Hey, bro, I want to get up with you," and stuff like that. But it's just building relationships and teaching these young dudes that, like just we don't really got no guys, man. We don't really got no. There's not a lot of people out here that's genuinely trying to help. Everybody wants something for themselves. They're trying to use you to get to where they need to go at, or like especially these NFL guys, they about to make millions, so everybody see them as an opportunity to leech off of them, and that just don't happen in the other communities in the other race. They don't have to deal with that stuff, but these young black dudes, man, that's all they deal with. So I just try to be an ear for them and try to help them get to a point where it'll be an easier process to get in the NFL. So that's kind of what they use me for, and a lot of other roles. I'm good at character. I'm good at foxing out a lot of the BS too. So they use me in a lot of different roles.
You know what's interesting though, Terrell? I think that you being in that position, too often we don't have somebody inside, right?
Yeah,
Inside.
yeah.
There's a inside, you know, back in the day it was a house something and then the outside somebody, right? Right?
Right.
But that house somebody knew the game. That
Yeah.
house somebody heard the drill. That house somebody knew what everybody was getting ready to do, and they knew what moves need to be made in order for them to get to where they're going. So if
Right.
they walked out, they were slaves, but then they can go and create Black Wall Street. What does that say? They took away something and they passed it on down. That's where, when we start talking about mentoring now, as you all grow from middle school now into professionalism, when you grow, what are you taking with you? And how do we do that next thing of bringing everybody together and moving together as a force and creating the institutionalized pieces that need to be brought together for all of us to be able to play, for all of us to be able to eat, for all of us to be able to leave legacies for our people. And that's the bottom line. All the rest of the stuff is talking loud and saying nothing. If you're not putting some money and some time and some energy, putting something back into our community and back into the people who live in our community and making changes in those communities, then you just like everybody else. So we just looking at what you all have done and where you are and what you're doing and how you're supporting others is powerful. So please don't walk away thinking that this is light, because it's not. This is what we are supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to grow and excel. Miss Vera, you look like you're getting ready to say something.
I am so happy to hear that Terrell is in the position that he is in, because I have been watching the football draft. And as I watched the football draft, and when they would call the names of the people, of the young men who were supposed to be, you know, had been selected, the mannerism, the look on the face that they thought they had to have, that they had to be no smiles, looking mean, looking bad. It was a facade that they had to put there to come across as big, bad people. And then there would be some that would step out. I'm not talking about how they were dressed. Now, everybody, you know, own dress. But I'm talking about their demeanor and how that demeanor came. They thought they had to be so big, bad, and bold. And yet there were some, I look at Terrell, that when they received it, they had a smile. They didn't have to look big, bad, and mean. So you were there. Now, I am so happy to hear that you're in a position where you can say to those young men that we know you're big, we know you're bold, we know you're strong, but you don't have to come across as a big, black, mean man. And want it to be that way.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice. It's actually a good feeling to be able to kind of touch people, and also on the flip side of just people seeing me doing this, what I'm doing, and it's possible because I mean, coming from where we come from, I didn't ever know nobody who was a scout or working for the Ravens. Period. Like I knew Craig, the police officer, but everybody know Craig. Like, but you know what I'm saying? That was it's like the only few people that we ever known to do this. So it's like that's another. I get people hit me up all the time, like, bro, can you give me a job? Or like, hey, I'm trying to go to law school. What you think I should do? I get that a lot now, and it's like, well, that right there in itself, I consider that just mentoring just from afar. Like maybe I ain't hands on as I should be, but I'm touching somebody just because they know me as a regular person and just being able to do it. So yeah, like it's just cool to be able to touch some people. That's all.
And Terrell, I bet you experience a lot of like you mentioned from afar, a lot of people watching you from afar and sometimes and in many cases admiring what you do. So I bet you have to make sure you move a certain way because you just never know who's watching, you know?
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
I mean, it's just I used to think it was a lot of pressure because I had to live up to like a certain standard or whatever, but like it's a lot of pressure working there because I mean, it's just like the NFL is what you see on TV and what you hear about. Like some of that stuff is a real thing. Fortunately, the Ravens are pretty good one of the best organizations in the league, so you don't deal with it as much. But it's always about the Raven. It's always about the Shield. So you always got to hold yourself to that standard of like, all right, when I move around in the city and when I, you know, I still come from Perkins, so when I do move around in the city, it's hard for me to hide that I'm from Perkins, but I also got to understand that I'm a professional, and I got to understand that it's a brand. Like I get pulled over or something crazy happening, they're gonna say Ravens employee. They're not just gonna say my name or whatever. Like a lot of times, and then it's like I don't want to shed that type of light on the people that I work with, and because I know how hard they work and stuff like that. So like it's a lot of pressure, like you said, Tavon. Like I feel the pressure, but most of the time, I mean, it's pressure coming from the projects and doing a lot of
built
stuff.
For the pressure. Yeah, built for the pressure.
It's just another thing. It's just another hurdle. Just being a black guy, just moving around in the world. That's kind of how I see it. And it's cool.
But that's huge. Being a black guy, being a black girl, that's huge. Just being that takes a lot of courage on a lot of different levels to be able to be your authentic self and do what you got to do where you need to do it, because the game is real. You know, they sit and they play monopolies and they play chess, and chess is a serious game. You got to know how to make those moves, and you got to make certain that you've done an analysis to make certain that those moves are correct, because you can lose everything with the wrong move. And that wrong move in corporate America, be it in education or any level where there is administrative, and there's a power structure, it's the same thing. It's a game, and you've got to be able to navigate it. You know, I call that being bilingual. So, you know, I can sit and do what I need to do over here, but then I could go home and I know all of those words that I'd like to use. And I can't.
I use them. I ain't gonna lie, I use them.
And I use them very well.
I use them at work. I use them. I ain't gonna lie to you. I use them.
You know, with some people I can do that with, but some others you can't do that because they don't. You know, whether they do it, they may do it at home or somewhere else, but they'll look down on you for doing it.
Yeah, I don't know how to switch it up though. I really genuine. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's my one struggle in this profession is that I truly don't know how to switch it up. And like the one message I always try to teach, like especially younger people, because I know they growing up in the social media era, and everybody wants to be their best self every day on social media and all that. And I'm like, bro, just be your true self, because your best self is so hard to keep up with. I don't care what nobody say. And for me, like I might drop the N-word at work. I might use a bad word. I can't help myself but that's why they like me so much, because it's not a lot of that going on. They can trust me that like if it get real, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna stand strong. So like it's a gift of being yourself, but it's also a curse because you could rub somebody the wrong way. And you also can make people scared of you. And that was always my thing. Like, I don't want people to be intimidated by me. I'm already like decent size, so I just don't want to scare people off. So
is that big black man?
Yeah. So like a lot of times I try to like keep it like even kill, and like because you come in the door and then when you drop, it's always a telltale when you say, I went to law school. They like, you went to law school, and it's like, like what I'm not supposed to. Like, so,
right. How dare you? How dare you?
So I deal with a lot of that, but it's getting better now because I'm like seasoned, and like a lot of people respect me because I go hard. Like I'm gonna work hard, and I'm gonna have everybody back. So that's the big thing.
But that's real, and we have to deal with the reality of it, and it's not a game. Can I share something with y'all for real? This is a true story that happened to me. I used to set up military exhibits for the United States Marine Corps right before I moved to Baltimore. And this brigadier general was new, retired from the Marine Corps, and came to work at the Marine Corps League. And I was the only black thing anywhere in at least a 5-10 block radius down in Virginia, right? And right out of Crystal City. And he would come into my office before I got there. I lived in Bethesda and worked in Virginia, and I had to drive. So it took me time to get there, but he was always there like at 5 o'clock in the morning because, you know, the Marines run. By the time I got to work, he had put little stickies all over the back of my chair. So I couldn't even sit down with all these different little instructions that he wanted. Now I'm the only Black person in the building, and I had to pull the stickies off my chair before I could sit down. Now, Miss Vera, you know what I was feeling at the time, don't you? And so here I go. I'm looking. I said, okay, I'm making some good money right now. I cannot get fired right now, but I couldn't stand it. And one day I walked in, and there it was. Man, I took all of those stickies off the back of the chair, walked into his office, and I was angry. This was back in the 90s before I moved to Baltimore. I was so angry I couldn't see. And he said, just hold that thought. And he gets on what they call the horn and brings all the rest of the people who didn't look like me into the room, all men, all Marines, retired. I'm the only thing in there. And he said, okay, Marsha, now go ahead. You look like a little upset. Why don't you tell us what is wrong? And I said, I just need you to know, if you put another sticker on the back of my chair, I'm going to beat your dup. And they looked at each other, and they looked at me, and they said, we wondered how long it would take you to do it.
You talk their language. That's it.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so the games that they play are so deep. And I stood there, and I was like, so then I went off for real. And they said, come on, we go on. We just shut the office down, went across the street, and started drinking. But you know, that's real, right? And that was back in 1980 something, but that's real. And so as we build and we bring our children and we work with all these young people and helping them grow, we know that there's bigger forces out there that they have to deal with. And it's having an understanding of what you see isn't all you need to see.
Right. Edwin's trying to get on. Edwin
come on, Edwin. Come on, Edwin.
One of the founders of Black Professional Men. And even
though bring him in.
Even though he's a Kappa, he's all right with me.
Oh, that's right. You're Alpha.
Yeah, and Tavon's a Q, and a Mason too.
Okay. So Katanya, I don't know if you can hear, but he hung up. I don't have Edwin's information.
Okay, well, Edwin is one of the founders of Black Professional Men. He's involved with the very unique school, the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys.
Oh.
And Edwin is very much into the whole idea of mentoring. So I know reason why he wasn't with us in the beginning, because he was with both his sons. Mm-hmm. So he just finished getting away from I think it's a practice with one of his sons lacrosse or something like that. So that's why he was late. So
I didn't know if you were back there. Come on back. That's okay. I want you to close. Just get on. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. I don't care. Use your phone. Bye. I love my friends.
I know you can talk to him just like that. I understand. Come on, Edwin.
He's coming. But I think that one of several of the things, if there is a way, how do we go about making certain that this story is out there, that we build an infrastructure for all of the mentoring that needs to be done? And how do we bring a mass to this? Because I'm looking at the results of what the mentoring has accomplished. I'm looking at from being a mentor to being a mentee, which is huge. And how do we maintain this, and how do we push it forward? Somebody said, you should be raising money and getting grants and stuff to do that. And I'm certain that the infrastructure that Mr. Carter has does all that. But I think that, we don't always have the ability to see the future, but we certainly have enough brain power, not only just here, but in everybody's circle of influence, to change the trajectory of many other children's lives. And looking and seeing all of the lives that have been impacted on this show just alone is powerful. Maisha, you want to say something? You said enough. You've been talking long enough. All right. So, but I appreciate you all coming. I don't know if Edwin, he may said, Marsha, I ain't thinking about you right now. And that's okay. I love my friends. They do what they do. But Carter, you want to say something and
I just
bring
want to
us up,
say,
wrap it up?
I want to say thank you, Vera, Maisha, Denise. Everyone was there in spirit. I know Dr. Chris Wright he wanted to share some things because that was actually Tavon's coach in high school. And Marsha, this has been an interesting scenario the last 2 days because we were like, okay, Marsha, we know the king has one last move, and it all came together today. I want to say thank you so much. I think Maisha and Denise, we're going to talk about maybe a little dinner to say thank you. I owe a horseback ride with Terrell and Tavon. I mean, God, y'all messed up my whole game, man. Y'all just having all my business. Horseback riding. But
I love it.
But again, I want to say
Terrell ain't gonna let you forget that either, Mr.
Oh,
Carter.
no.
And Tavon feel the same way, bro. He had us in the room. We was going over how to tie ties and stuff, bro. I'm trying to horseback ride, bro.
And Montrez, he's with you because Terrell and Montrez, they like Yogi and Boo Boo. They're always together. So again, I want to say thank you so much. Did we record this, Marsha?
Yes, we did. And
fantastic.
yes,
Here's
here
Edwin.
comes Mr. Edwin Evans. How you doing, brother?
Hello, everyone. I've been enjoying the show and really proud of BPM mentees, Tavon and Terrell. And of course, I'm always glad to be in the room with Rod Carter. He's like, he's the glue guy. He's the straw that stirs the drink. And he really is, he's like a legend in this mentoring game. So I just really enjoyed sitting here watching everybody. I've been sitting in the waiting room for about a half an hour, but I ain't gonna say nothing. But no, just an origin story. 1991, myself, Scott Phillips, and Drew Hawkins started Black Professional Men, and over the years, we probably had about 1,000 different Black men that come through the organization as members and who served as mentors over the years. And I always smile with Tavon because Brad Red, who was a member of BPM and one of the officers of BPM, like a vice president at the time, became his mentor, and they've been the perfect example of what we hope would happen when we started Black Professional Men. Our mission is to ensure the future of the African American male, and we do it through just loving on young brothers. Loving them, mentoring them, coaching them up. Over the years, we've probably spoken in front of, mentored, or just worked with over. I'd say over 3,000 young Black men in the city that we've touched their lives. And then we started scholarships called the Rays of Hope Scholars, and we've given out almost 250 scholarships, Rod, to young Black men who've gone on to college. And so it's been incredible. This journey since 1991. We've been around for 31 years doing this work. And so I'm really excited when I see young brothers like Tavon and Terrell out there being successful young men. That's exactly what we were hoping for when we started the organization. And I guess all of it has kind of led me to, the next thing I'm doing now. I have a school in Baltimore called the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys, where we have 480 young Black boys, 4th grade to 8th grade. And I'm the president and CEO of that school. And it's just an exciting time that we're mentoring young boys. We graduated our first class of 8th graders in 2018. And this year, those guys are graduating from high school.
I love it.
So yeah, we graduated 68 boys. We've done a survey, and I'm waiting for all the data. But so far, we've gotten back 20 responses, and of the 20 responses, 15 of our boys are going to college.
That's
and so,
powerful.
it's like mind blowing. God is good, and I love this work of pouring into young Black men and ensuring the future of the African American male. But so much of what I've been able to witness and accomplish came with Rod Carter at my side, being the coach and the guide for all of us. So it's great to hear. It's great to hear Maisha's story, and it was great to hear the other ladies' stories too, because I can relate to them.
Well, one thing I want to say is big commercial. People know that I've been out in LA for the last week. I came back, and one of our scholars is he's actually starring in the TV series about the Lakers. He's playing Michael Cooper. His name is Alante de Sousa. Marsha, that's going to be a future interview for you through his agent. But it's an awesome story how
Is
he
he
got to know.
related to the DeSousa's here?
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's
Oh,
not.
okay,
No,
okay, okay,
no,
okay.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no, no.
asking.
No, keep that clean. No, he's from Jamaica. Okay, so anyway, but again, that's something that I'm so proud of him. And also, Kalen is out there right now trying to get discovered too. Someone who got his degree in engineering, but he said I want to become an actor. So he's out in California right now trying to do his thing. So again, we've had a great story, Edwin. Thank you so much for your support, Teddy Coates and Ted Arms, and Cheryl and Quadro. I mean, what can I say? Ricky Smith. They were the ones that kept me going, and that was the beauty of it all. It all came from the Million Man March. And unfortunately, we didn't show that video, but I'll send it out to everyone so they can see it themselves. Again, I want to say thank you for everything tonight.
So Edwin, before you dash off, one of the things that I'd really like, how do people get involved in your programming, and what should people be doing in order to getting their young people ready for your school, as well as ready to make some changes in their lives through your mentoring?
Well, first of all, we're always recruiting other Black men who care, right? And so those guys can go to the website for Black Professional Men, and that's blackprofessionalmen.org, blackprofessionalmen.org. And there they can find out all kinds of information about how to get involved with us, so they can get involved with our youth development programs, our scholarship programs, and things like that. And so we really encourage that. Then with regards to my school, people can go to baltimorecollegiate.org. We start in the 4th grade. So right now, if you got a 3rd grader that you want to head to college and have a different life, bring them to us. Right now is open enrollment time. And until we get all of our seats filled, there's still an opportunity. But lots of time we have a waiting list, and people have to go through a lottery to get in. But baltimorecollegiate.org is how they can find out about Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys. Now, Black Professional Men, we have a nice relationship with Baltimore Collegiate. So we have our men coming in to mentor, to speak to the boys, to do career days with the boys. So, it's a very symbiotic relationship that if they come to our school, they're also going to be involved with Black Professional Men in our mentoring program.
I love it. That and now it's full circle, right?
Yep.
So and the circle continues.
Yep, exactly.
Right? That's huge.
Exactly.
That's huge.
So,
What
yeah,
would be
it's
3 things that you would tell parents?
3 things that I would tell parents with regards to raising their
All of the
son.
above. All of the above.
Well, I'm a father. Look, part of the reason why I was like logging off, because my oldest son is a freshman at Loyola University, and he's about to play in the intramural basketball championship tonight at 9 o'clock. And so, first of all, just love on your sons, like love on them. Like, really, I have 2 sons, an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old 8th grade. And I just planned it out. I saw their life in my mind, how it was going to turn out. They had no choice but to, become star athletes, Eagle Scouts. They went through Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, become Eagle Scouts. They were always honor roll students, and they got scholarships to go to, got accepted to several colleges and scholarship money. And so it was all a plan. It was like, you got to have a vision for your son. And for me, fortunately, I was there to be their male role model. And then I have a bunch of men and Black Professional Men and my fraternity brothers that I pledged with back at Cornell University that are all my son's uncles who pour into my sons and their role models and examples. So keep your sons around great role models, have a vision for your son's life, and plan it out. Like, there was nothing left to mistake with my children. I thought about this, I dreamt it, I planned it, and then every day I did it. So I always say, dream it, plan it, do it. And that's the 3 things I would encourage, parents to do for their sons. Dream the dream that they want to see their son in, and plan it out, and then every day get up and do it.
That's powerful. And every day get up and do it. You can't just write the plan. You got to implement the plan.
You got to implement,
and you got to follow it through to the end. For the end goal is success.
Exactly. I mean, shoot, look, before I jumped on here, and the reason why I had to come so late, because I'm coaching the 8th grade sons AAU basketball team. So I leave my school with all those 400 boys running around, jump in the car, burn it home so I can pick up my son, take him and coach his team, and get ready for the games this weekend. And so it's always being involved in their lives and pouring into them and loving them. So
yeah, but it's about the outcome too, right?
Absolutely.
That's an investment.
Absolutely.
Hey, Edwin, I got a quick question for you too. Do y'all do anything with the Ravens?
Not yet, Terrell. And
There we go.
Talk to you about
no. Somebody asked me today, like, do you know any schools that's crazy?
Yes.
Somebody hit me up today, like I know a person in community relations, and she was like,
"Oh,
"I
he's
want to
sitting
get
up now,
deep."
Terrell. He's sitting up now."
He said they said they want to get deep in the city because I was like, "Why y'all keep doing all this stuff with these private schools?"
No, Terrell.
She was like, "We trying to get into it."
Yeah, brother. I'm gonna be calling you.
Call me tomorrow,
Terrell.
Terrell, call me tomorrow. Really?
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna tap in.
you.
I'm gonna reach out. Yeah, I'm gonna give you my number and stuff. I'm gonna reach out to her. It's a group. It's a guy. It's a group of them. I'm gonna talk to them tomorrow, and then we gonna tap that in because there's a couple players that trying to get in the community. So yeah, let's do that.
Edwin, didn't we talk about?
And you know what? You're the brother that's the senior vice president of your of the Ravens. He's a lawyer too, right? Isn't
you talking about I forgot his last name is. I can't never. I'm bad with names now. I think I'm getting. I got you many head injuries, bro. I'm good.
I'm really interested in trying to recruit him to be on my board of trustees.
That's right. We talked about Cheryl. We talked about this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to. The person they just made the team president, that's Sashi. He's a black dude too. Right. He's super cool. He kind of got that Obama vibe to him. So I'm gonna talk to him.
Okay.
Yeah, he went to Hampton. Yeah, we starting to develop a relationship, and I'll be talking to him a lot about just different stuff. But
this is my school is the perfect school for the Ravens.
Yeah. That's what made me think of it because they asked me today, like, yo, what schools can we?
Yeah.
So
This is it. This is it.
And if I tap into it, I can get because Eric always be trying to get to do like different community stuff, and it would be perfect because we be trying to do like little events to try to get more people into scouting because like it's all every time I get an email on LinkedIn or a phone call, it's always the normal. I don't want to say it bad. I don't want to sound bad, but like all the white kids hit me up like, hey, I'm trying to get into it. And you don't really get a lot of black dudes hit me up about it. So like this would be perfect. So we definitely need to get together.
You
hit the gold mine now.
Touchdown. Because this is my dream.
We talked about this. We talked about it.
I'm gonna put the groundwork in tomorrow. I'm gonna put the groundwork. I'm gonna work on it tomorrow for sure.
Okay. Definitely.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I love it. I'm telling you, put it in the universe. God takes care of the rest. Right?
That's funny. That's funny.
She's so proud of you, Edwin. Nia Redmond says she's real proud of you, brother.
Oh yeah, I love Nia Redmond. Yes,
she's a bad sister.
Yes,
okay, so give us 3 things. Take away, Edwin.
Oh wow. Thank you, Miss Redmond. Well, I think the 3 things is really, particularly for our community, man, our young brothers and sisters really need our leadership. They need mentoring. They need loving. They need us to be there and love on them. And so I'm always encouraging all of us, like if we want to ensure the future of the African-American male, we gotta roll up our sleeves and get involved in their lives. They just need guidance. Okay. So get involved. Like I said, go to blackprofessionalmen.org, find out about how you can join us. Go to Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys at baltimorecollegiate.org, find out how you can get involved in our school. And then, look, every day, just get up and love on a brother. Love on a brother and to let them know that they matter. That's what it's all about.
That's a powerful world. Words that they matter.
Mm-hmm.
They do matter. You do matter.
Absolutely.
Right? That's
Absolutely.
huge.
Absolutely.
You do matter.
Yeah.
Any last words, Tevon?
None for me, Edwin. It was a pleasure seeing you talk about your school with so much passion.
Oh yeah, well, you know how I am, man. I just love it, man. This is our mission.
Absolutely.
This is our mission, man. We got to change the lives. And just like y'all, I'm telling y'all are perfect examples of this. You know what I'm saying? But from us mentoring you guys as little guys and seeing the men that you are, I know. So if we could do it with you guys, if I could do that with 480 boys a year, how can we change this entire city, this country, this world? I want to open up more schools too. My dream is to open up 50 of these schools around the country in other cities. So I want to build an empire.
I think that's doable.
It is
And
doable.
you know what? When you say pass, when you say I want to pass it on, I think you need to have somebody create a gold baton that you can pass to the next generation, the next. Pass that baton, because that's what we need in order for our people to be strong.
Yep, you're right. I'm in the room with the lights just like clicked off for me. Look, I love you all. My son's game just started, so I gotta go see my dude. But thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Rod. And thank you, Terrell and Tavon, for being great mentees, great mentors, and great role models, man. I love you guys, and I'm proud of you guys.
Hey, thanks for setting that example, man, back in the day.
Thank you, Edwin, Evan. Thank you, baby.
Take care,
Appreciate
y'all.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
Any last words from the rest of you? Closing remarks, Tavon, Terrell, Miss V?
No, but I think this has been, yes, I do have some closing words. Is that to the men? And because I thought it was to be separate women and separate men, but this has been informational for both of us. I have a grandson who's 14 years old. I have a son who is turning 50 this year and has been mentoring as well. So to see the products of you young men, it is remarkable. It's been a wonderful program, a wonderful show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and joining us and bringing all that beautiful wisdom, girl. Thank you. Thank you. So, Tavon?
Yes. Thank you for just having me. First of all, it's been a pleasure listening to the wisdom coming from you ladies, and the energy. It's been amazing. Terrell, as always, man, I love you, chat, and we'll be in contact as usual. And for you, Mr. Carter, continue doing, man. Back in the day when you used to pop up at the schools on us, we used to duck you. We used to try to run from you. But we appreciate you, man, because you always stay consistent. And from my seat, it's been 27, 28 years that you've been doing the same thing at a high level. And I just want you to know that you are appreciated. So keep doing what you do.
I still got some plans for your son,
Absolutely.
So we're gonna talk more about that. I'm gonna send something over. I had to lay low a little bit, and I think it was a good strategy. Eric took over for me, and it's taken to another level. So I'll be getting in contact with you very soon. I'll probably give him a call probably weekend.
Before we totally close out and get the last words from here, but Dr. Terry Macy Burrell.
Oh yeah.
She wrote in here, good stuff. Service to the community is the rent we pay for occupying space in the community.
Terry don't play. That's my running buddy. We're gonna probably talk about another hour after the show anyway. But she did a lot with the guys in BPM regarding the orientation. She will always come in, and she always gave a powerful presentation. So again, we're gonna talk about Terry because Terry has some things to add also in a different light. Okay.
Terrell, any last words?
No, I just appreciate y'all for having me on here, and Tavon, that's my guy. I'm gonna talk to him anyway, but yeah, I appreciate y'all. Mr. Carter, I ain't been ducking you out. I just been.
I know what's going on.
Yeah,
I told you I was proud of you, so it's fine. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, Terrell, I'm gonna get your information from Mr. Carter if you don't mind.
That's perfect.
Okay, because we're gonna have some more conversation between all of y'all. So every single one of you on this call, see, this is what happened. I see that you can't, Tavon, you can't close your eyes and pray. Why she say that out loud? But you can't go nowhere now. You in the circle. You can close your eyes and say, Lord, why is she saying my name? I can see it on there. You stuck now, brother.
No, that's all good.
All right. Well, thank you all so very much. Any last words, Carter?
I'm fine.
This was wonderful. Thank you for just being yourselves, bringing the truth and sharing your live story and all that you've gone through. And we're really appreciative. And Ms. V, I really appreciate you being here and having participated with all of these folks and still continuing that tradition.
Thank you.
And so I'm gonna be in touch with you too.
I got her number. You'll talk to her. Okay.
I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm not going nowhere. You family now. You stuck.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
All
Thank you,
right.
everybody. Good night.
Thank you
God
very
bless
much to
everybody.
Tanya Lester, who is our producer. Thank you for everybody who joined us today. Tavon McGee, Terrell Parker, Vera Dorsey, and we have the rest of the ladies are out and rolling now. Tavon, Misha, thank you so much. This was really far more than what I could have ever imagined. And thank you for bringing our authentic selves and just telling the truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday. We have a whole nother program planned out. We just warming up.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, Rob, we out.